Good evening and welcome to the August 11th Select Board Meeting. Please stand for the flag salute. So we had a public hearing for the liquor license for Auxiliary Brewing Company. I would look for a motion to approve the liquor license.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? And I would look for a motion to accept this week's warrants.
I didn't have a chance to review them. I know we had some time, but we were talking.
I just did payroll. I didn't read through the other one.
I had moved to accept the warrants.
Can I have a second for discussion?
Second.
Okay. I've looked at the warrants, and absolutely we need to approve the payroll warrants because everybody needs to get paid. But my concern is so many late fees, so much interest on other things that get paid late. If we put it off for another week, are we going to incur more late fees? That's what concerns me. Is there, I know, the school is on there, which is the big one. A lot of it is contract. And it personally makes me nervous not paying our contractors timely.
Yeah, so the total warrants for $484,179. According to the accounts today, there's $900,000 in the account, $969,000. Do we know if there's any money moved over from the TAM last week?
There is not,
Okay.
and that's actually on the agenda to discuss, which we may as well do it now. Julie is looking to the board, has requested of the board that we give her a number. She wants to transfer over $450,000, but she wants to know at what point to do that, where the bank account's at, and it takes 2 days for it to process.
Let's see. We have to do it pretty soon.
Do we want to give her a bottom number of 500,000? If it hits 500, you pull it over, period? Do we want to?
I would say something like 750.
Okay.
Because if it hits 500 and we have another warrant like this, and
Right.
it takes 2 days, we can
Well, that
potentially have
and,
an account of 14,000. We don't want that.
that and how much, that's today's balance in the account, what has not cleared yet. So do we want to let her know 750,000, once the account hits that, she needs to pull?
Yes,
Okay. The 450.
I'm fine with that.
So can we vote on approving the warrants? All those in favor? All right. And I would look for a motion to accept the August 4th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? All right. And Wade, can you read the announcements?
The Select Board will meet on Tuesday, August 18th at 7 p.m. The Select Board will hold a special town meeting on August 18th at 6 p.m. on 3 articles. For details, contact the Select Board admin or the Select Board admin at limerickme.org. The Select Board is looking for 2 new members to join the Budget Committee. If interested, please contact the Select Board admin. And the Select Board is also looking for one individual to join the Appeals Board. If interested, please contact the Select Board admin at selectboardadmin@limerickme.org. The Select Board asks that you silence your cell phones during meetings in order to limit interference with microphones or discussion of agenda topics. As part of the hearing of citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the board of select persons outside the public meeting. And for your convenience, complaint forms are readily available on the sign-in table.
Two things. Do we know, did the warrant get hung today? Or has the warrant been hung up for the special town meeting next week? No. Okay. So if it hasn't been hung up, I don't think we're allowed to hold it anymore. Right? What's that? According to the DD, according to the email that we received earlier in this week, it had to be hung up today.
Yeah.
And then secondly, it's just the select board meeting will follow the special town meeting. It might not start directly at 7.
So, I think the special town meeting might kill us all. But there was a lot of back and forth about if we had a budget committee and if they were going to make a recommendation. And so it didn't get hung. So I would have to check with Dee on that, but I think if it didn't get hung today, then we might have to.
Yeah, if it didn't get,
Put it off a week.
Deadline 7 p.m.
yeah, it's 7 days, I think, to the hour before, right? So, yeah, we'll have to cancel that meeting because we can't have the special town meeting without it being advertised 7 days in advance. So, just a note.
So do we want to move it to the following week? The 25th? Do we have anything on the calendar for the 25th?
We don't have anything on the calendar for the 25th.
Will we have the answers that we need by the 25th? Do we have the answers that we need now? I know the last email I had was
We
kind of-
do now.
Okay.
We have to, the budget committee just can't give a recommendation. They can come and speak individually at the hearing, or at the meeting, but they can't give a recommendation because they don't have a quorum.
25th then.
And on the announcements,
We also have to verify if Saco River can film.
we are actually looking for 3 members because at a meeting, and I don't have the date on me now, but at a select board meeting, when Steve was appointed to the board, the select board, or when he was appointed to the committee, the select board agreed to appoint him through March of '26. So his term has actually ended. So we are actually looking for 3 budget committee members.
With the warrant, since we're changing it to the 25th, I have to fix those papers and have you guys sign them. Do you guys want to do that tonight so we can get them hung tomorrow?
Yes, please.
Okay. So while you guys continue, I will go to that. real
Okay.
quick, So that we can get it done. This morning.
Thank you. All right. Oh, yes.
You have all the answers tonight, why doesn't you just go hang them tonight?
The deadline is passed, so the meeting starts at 6 p.m.
Oh, I thought it was the 18th, it had to be.
So yeah, the select board would have been holding a special town meeting on the 18th at 6 p.m. and it has to be hung 7 days to the hour prior. So it would have to have been hung by 6 p.m. today, at least, if not more. The more the better.
So we'll get it hung tomorrow for the 25th.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Department reports. Casey, or Stan for tax acquired?
All right, so we have exciting updates. Map 38, Lot 3, Fisher Drive. We just signed all of the closing statements. We're going to close on that tomorrow. Map 38, Lot 7, Fisher Drive. We received 2 offers. Offer 1 was for $45,100 with an escalation up to $63,100. Subject to a soils test within 7 business days. It was a cash offer and proof of funds were provided with a closing date of September 3rd. Offer 2 was for $64,000. No inspection contingency. It was a cash offer and proof of funds were provided with a closing date of September 1st. I would recommend accepting offer number 2. Would the board like to vote on to accept that?
I make a motion to accept offer number 2 for $64,000 for map 38, lot 7.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
All right. So for that one,
I'll abstain from that vote.
I've
Oh,
highlighted-
sorry, I just
No,
did.
it's okay.
I've highlighted green where each of your initials are.
Okay,
The 5th and 6th pages need to be signed.
okay.
In additional, I have map 42, lot 322 on Grandview. That is it's a fairly nice level, normal lot. Is tax acquired. I would recommend to list that for $55,000, which was the same list price that we had for these 2 lots. They're fairly close in location and similar in quality. Would the board like to vote on listing map 42, lot 322 on Grandview for $55,000?
I make a motion that we list map 42, lot 322 on Grandview Circle for $55,000.
Grandview Drive.
Grandview Drive. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I made a motion.
Abstain?
I did not highlight this for you, but this is like the 5th time I've done it. So first 3 pages, initials at the bottom, last page, signature on any line you feel like.
Pick a line, any line?
Any line you feel like, any of these.
Okay.
That's all I've got left.
We had given Casey another lot, but there's a question I need to check with Lake Arrowhead. The road is developed, it's partially developed, and I know there's water there, but there's no utility poles, so I will check on that tomorrow and get with Casey, and we'll go over and get her a few more lots to list.
Curious, where is that one?
That is Quaker Road and Woodwood.
Ridgewood, yeah.
Yeah,
Quaker,
Ridgewood,
yeah, Quaker, map
Ridgewood.
43, lot 76.
Yeah, so. I know last year they were working on redoing Quaker, so I made the assumption that they finished and they may or may not have.
It's just not quite, the utilities aren't quite to the lot yet.
Gotcha. Are we looking at selling any of the, properties that are not tax acquired, that are settlement?
Town-owned, which is quiet title or by settlement, either way you want to look at it. Yes, there are some here. The one that is in question is also a settlement property, But we will, what I'm picking on is, as far as town-owned or settlement properties are single lots that can't be combined, because I need to get with the committee to decide which lots we're going to combine where we're able to do it. So right now, we've been picking on just the single lots. I will get more and get with the committee next week, and we'll, or the later part of this week, whenever they're convenient, and we'll do that.
Okay.
But I did start looking at some of the town-owned properties, which those, there is no going back and creating the taxes of what's owed, and there's no previous owner, so all of that money that you get will go to the town.
Okay. Thank you.
So the other two, again, I apologize, Casey, because I gave the other ones some other lots as well. Main real estate, the board had decided to amend the sale price for 46, lot 24, to 45,000. The previous buyer came back, and the only thing he changed was still offering 20,000, but contingent on that it passes a soil test. So I said I will bring it to the board.
Anyone have any thoughts on that one? That one tax acquired?
That is a tax-acquired property, yep, and that's 3 lots combined that, out of,
Oh, but that one doesn't have very good
right, there's
lots.
2 lots that's in a really big gully, and then there's one end of it that's up high, so.
So it's not really all usable. Okay.
And what was the offer price again?
I'm sorry,
What was the offer?
the offer was 20,000,
Yeah.
and contingent on it passes a soils test.
Do we want to hold out?
I think that's the same offer we've had for a couple weeks, so I would say we could possibly give it another week, and then if there's no other offer, that's my opinion, but I think,
But after that, let it go.
yeah, I mean, it's 20,000 and inspections is not in today's market, even for a crappy lot, I don't think that's my personal opinion.
Not great.
That's not a good offer.
Yeah.
But if it is a crappy lot, we may need to consider lowering the price more, because it's been on the market for a week, 2 weeks. Well, it's been on the market a while now, but
A while.
a month and a half,
Yeah.
4 weeks.
4
yep.
weeks, and we've done 1 price lowering, so.
Okay. I would agree with that. So revisit in a week?
Yes.
Yeah,
1 week?
1
1
week.
week.
Okay. All right, Main real estate, also with Sheila, because this was a challenging lot for her. I gave her some, or asked her to do some seller agreements for the board to decide on. Map 38, Lot 37, which is off in Dole's Ridge Road, it's .51 acres, and she wants to list it for 40,000. It, kind of a tight spot, but
Where on Dole's?
more up towards Old Country Way, on the opposite side of the road.
And it's 5 acres for 40?
Yeah, about half an acre,
0.5.
Oh, .5.
yeah.
Oh, I thought you said 5 acres, that's what I'm like.
But none of these are going to be unless they're
Yeah.
combined lots, so.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
let's,
All right, so I gave the other ones 3 lots apiece, so we will continue on. Map 42, Lot 121, which is .49 acres. That is off an Old Country Way. That is one of the last lots that we have on Old Country Way, and she's, again, said 40,000. So, then we have map 40, Lot 94 for .46 acres, which is Long Street, and that's 40,000.
on Long Street. Which map is it?
Map
and lot?
40, Lot 94,
Okay.
for .46 acres, .46 acres, there.
Is that buildable on Lake Arrowhead?
Yeah.
All right.
But when they
Do
looked
we-
at them and they said the buildable lots, it's kind of ironic because one of the ones we can't sell, they said is buildable, and I don't know why anybody would want to build it anyway, but that was the roundabout.
Oh, yep,
So,
yep.
And isn't there, there's a house there now, right?
what's that?
Is there a house there now?
No.
No, the one
Okay.
that's on
That was-
Waycross, that little
Oh,
island.
yeah, I'm thinking of the one on Long Street, sorry.
And the other one that we cannot sell was Lot 68, which is off in Dole's Ridge Road. It's kind of the corner of Fisher and Dole's Ridge. It's 5 lots combined, but that was designated as a recreational area. Most of that is wet, so we cannot sell that.
Okay.
So that's for Maine Real Estate. Do you want to vote on that separately, or you want to go on all of them? Make it one.
I would entertain a motion to put all of those out on the market with Maine Real Estate?
That's Maine Real Estate, that's Sheila. Yeah.
I would second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
So then we got Caldwell Bankers, which is Peggy Hill. Map 2, Lot 287.47 acres is King Hill Road. She wants to list that for $49,900.
Okay.
The next one's 42, Lot 155 for .51 acres. That's the corner of Nob Hill and Quaker. Again, $49,900. Map 40, Lot 102 is .49 acres. That's the corner of Whippoorwill and Dole's Ridge, right next to a violation. $49,900.
Okay. Yep. Is that it?
That is it for Caldwell Bankers.
Okay. I would look for a motion on listing the lots proposed with Caldwell Bankers.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? I need a stamp.
So here's the long part. I get to take an hour and 15 minutes. The department report for the constable, we did have some negative activity on Emery Corner Road, which is the old Gilpatrick place again. It was an OD. The state police asked the ambulance to stage. Then the state police released the ambulance. I'm waiting for a status on that, but the activity is, again, increasing now that one of the occupants is out of the hospital and back at home. I will send you an email on my recommendations, but I think we'll probably have to send a notice to all 46 parties of interest that it is becoming a nuisance, and we may have to pursue it that way. The other thing is we do have another person in the business park that is in violation of his consent agreement. I haven't discussed any further with Ben at this point, but I am going to meet with this individual again and tell them that we will proceed with court action, and the town now, because he's in violation, as of June 1st, if he didn't mitigate the violation, then the fine was $42,500 at that point. It excels $2,500 a day from the date of the violation. So I will have to recalculate that. It's a hefty fine. I know the individual has some problems, but again, it's not our problem. We do need to address the issue, and he continues to push. he's trying to do it under the temporary storage, but again, temporary storage isn't going to apply in an abuse way. So I did want to bring you up to date on that.
Thank you.
The building permits for 2026 is $71,843.22. In 2025, it was $100,407.83. Business licenses is 20,000 this year to date. Last year was $14,833.31. The biggest reason for the increase is two of them let their license lapse, so they had to reapply. That was an additional $3,000 each. So I felt bad, but the ordinance says one thing, and that's what we follow. So less the 25% state plumbing fees, which is $2,286.25, and less the plumbing surcharge, which is for your subsurface systems, is $345. So that brings a negative number minus $2,631.25. So total fees collected year-to-date is $89,211.97. The way it is looking with new building permits coming in now, we're probably going to exceed last year. Total permits to date is 81. Last year was 112. Single-family homes this year is 20. Last year it was 34. And we have one duplex, and last year was 0. And there's another duplex in the plans over by Foss Road, so that will increase probably by next report. Are there any questions or any other concerns? There is a violation on Whippoorwill. It was brought to my attention, and I thank the people for doing that. They did not sign for the registered mail, but they did receive the first-class mail. So I have to wait 30 days. They have a right to appeal. And then a second notice will be issued. And if they don't respond by then the third one will be served by the constable or by myself. And that will be, again, potential court case.
Thank you.
Right. But they were caught bringing in more vehicles, so again, it's an adverse impression. But is there any other questions that I can deal with?
I don't have, does anybody have any questions?
Thank
You
you.
promised an hour. That was only a couple minutes.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
That was 7.5 minutes.
I do have props and everything that I can bring in, and I do have a recording from the planning board that I can also do.
No, we're good, we're good, we're good. Thank you,
But
Stan.
Thank you.
All right. Give us just a moment. I started signing everything. All right.
Dan, I was joking.
Oh, no, your time is done. You can schedule with Courtney for next week.
Really quickly, since we have monies coming in next week, again, there's been a question about the receiving part of it. Do we have an accountant that can look at what we've set up to make sure that we're doing it correctly? Because Judy's very concerned. We do show in proceeds $258,000, and there shouldn't be anything in proceeds, because everything we had, we can only hold 90 days, and it has to be dispersed. So, and I'm not so much worried about that. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and we don't have the future finger pointing and confusion.
Right, yeah, no, I know there was supposed to be an account created for real estate specific, and then it would go into capital reserve from there. Everything would be dispersed. We do not have a separate accountant to come in and do our books for us.
There is a key code and everything is listed on that one key code versus what we did before was the 186. And then you have to do a journal entry to move monies to interest or principal or whatever. But again, if it's not in trio, Karen, when she was with I.H. Smith, said those are not, those are revenues. You don't go back and reapply them. But again, I'd rather have some clarity on that.
Okay. We will have to see what we can find out, because right now we don't have the accountant that I know of. He's kind of stepped out, done his thing, stepped out. I know Howard has been looking for an auditor, and we have a potential auditor, but we're waiting for a proposal from them later this week.
I can try MMA to see if they have anybody that's there, just so for guidance.
Okay,
But-
yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
Also, on the Coldwell Banker ones,
Yeah,
she has her commission listed as 4%. So we'll need her to redo these because we agreed on 3% for all of them, right?
Change it to 3 initially.
Okay. And if that's an issue, we can re-sign them next week. But,
thank you for catching that.
yeah.
Jared?
Jared Welsh, Limerick Fire. I don't have a whole lot tonight. So calls for July, we did 56, and the following number is a little skewed because it just looks like we did a lot of fire. If we get a car accident, it's counted as a fire call, even though it was patients. So anyways, we did 17 fire calls, 39 EMS. We went mutual aid out of town 4 times, once to Acton, 1 Waterboro, 1 Porter, 1 Newfield. We had an intercept 1 time from Goins Mills and 1 transfer of care to Lifelight 1 time. The DEA stuff is almost done. I just put like 7 hours in yesterday trying to finalize a lot of the computer side of things. I reached out to Chris. He just has to do something with a server. That's beyond what I can do. We have our license. We have submitted our license information to our medication distributor. We're waiting on approval back. And then after that point, once we have everything in place, I'll go to Maine Med and kind of return what they have for narcotics. And then we'll be moving forward and we'll be done with the DEA stuff. Great Falls, if anybody's seen them uptown, Bernie has put in a bunch of time meeting with them. They're fixing a couple things. One of the doors is supposed to be a fire door, and it was not, and there was an electrical outlet. I think there's a couple items, but Bernie's been putting in some time with them. We have a new EMT. Dean LePage passed his national registry and has been issued his state license, so he's going to be doing some ride time on the ambulance. We have hose and ladder testing next week. That'll be out of the way for next year. Our truck committee is still meeting. They're about to begin meeting with different companies to kind of get prices, how far, lead times, pretty much. But we just had one stop by and said that Waterboro spent like $650, which is less than what I thought, but I believe they signed the contract 2 years ago, so it's probably going to be possibly much more. And then jackets. We're looking at putting in a jacket order. We usually think of this in the middle of winter, so we're trying to get ahead of it this year. And we're going to use the donation account money. I believe there should be 6,000 or 7,000. I got to meet with Julie and ask her about that. After we take out the DEA stuff, we should have enough to cover just winter jackets, which we've never, I think it's been like 10 years since we've actually had good jackets. And then for vehicles, we have our one ambulance got new tires put on the front. The second ambulance is going next week to have the same thing done. Our ATV had a track malfunction at a fire in Newfield, so that's going to be sent to be looked at. I believe the track's actually fixed. It just needs to be inspected. And we're going to be preparing to replace the front tires on engine 3 and engine 2 before the end of the year. I had 2 questions for you guys. So the first one is we need a key for the vault out back to go in the Knox box system. I don't believe there's one in there. We get a bunch of alarms. It's usually humidity, but if we needed to get in there, there's no way for us to do that. Also, if you guys didn't know, the fire alarm here keeps having a connection error. I think we've gotten like 15 calls on it. I'm not sure if
Yeah, the
something
fire
changed.
department, I still get the notifications, but we respond at least 3 times a week probably here.
I'm not sure if something changed, because I feel like we were fine a month ago, but now we're getting them all the time, which is different from the humidity. This is like a connection error, because I'm guessing we have cell service for the fire alarm. Not guessing, I know we have cell service.
Has that system been replaced that was fried?
That got replaced, right?
Yeah, the alarm that comes in, it comes in as a trouble alarm cell signal.
So they probably hit the other box that's mounted to it by mistake, which would change the temperature and the humidity setting.
Okay.
Well, this isn't even the humidity. It's just saying there's no cell connection between here at the 55 Washington, not even the vault. So you guys didn't change cell providers or anything like that? Okay.
We have changed nothing.
All right, well, we'll get a hold of them, figure that out. I had a question about how to sell items. So we have a bunch of stuff in the basement, a lot of like old brass fittings and stuff that's like 30 plus years old. And we also had some members ask if that money can go to the donation account, since it was the private fire department before the municipal department that bought it. But really, I'm just looking at how do we sell items? Is there like an auction site, or can we just put them out front and sell them, or?
Can't put them out front. I think it would have to go through the same process as the old squad truck, govdeals.com. But I'm unsure. I know we can't just sell them on Facebook Marketplace, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay. All right, and that's all I have for you guys tonight. Any questions?
No, but we really have to have one of those meetings again.
Absolutely. Yeah, whenever you'd
I'll
like.
email.
What's
We'll
that?
email you.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you,
I'll
Jen.
do some research on how to sell those items.
Okay.
That'll be on my to-do list to do this week. And
These are
see
all
if I can get some answers for Jared.
Okay. That would be very much appreciated.
Jared, I was just telling the board, I will do some research on how to sell those items and get back to you on that.
lots of small items. 2.5 days,
And they're not usable. They're past its usable life.
And to answer Jared's question, I would make a motion to, the proceeds from the sale of those materials go to the donation account.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
I'll abstain. On the things we signed,
Yes.
we all signed the purchase and sale agreement for $20,000.
Oh.
So I'm going to rip this up.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Take the clip off, though.
True. Keep that pay.
We always need clips.
I have no paper.
All right. Done?
Hello, I'm here from the Historical Society with Anne Marie Carroll was supposed to come, and she's not feeling well tonight. So she sent this information with me. Limerick Historical Society is hosting our last bingo of the summer tomorrow night. Doors open as usual at 4:40. The early birds enjoy meals, and this week's meal for anybody who's hungry is going to be mac and cheese with ham, meatball sub, egg salad sandwich, chicken pecan cranberry salad, which everybody seems to love, plus homemade cookies. The proceeds from bingo go to the Historical Society for the care of the 2 buildings we own. And if you've ever paid insurance bills, you know that the 2 buildings have high insurance. So anybody who comes, we thank you very much. We are also having an open house on Sunday, the 16th, at the Academy. It's a display of cooking things. If you're a gentleman, you might like to come and see what your ancestral mothers and sisters and wives had to cook with, and rejoice at what they could cook with today, because some of the things are very much the same, some of the things are very different, including using a fireplace and a wood stove as opposed to turning a dial for electricity or gas today. So that's open Sunday from 1 to 3. The second floor will be open. It has been closed the last 2 times, so the Oddfellows room is open for those people who are interested in seeing it, and lots of people have said, I didn't know that was up there. So that's, that's open for people to see. We will be having a program September 24th, more about cooking and how recipes have evolved over the years, and again, what women put up with cooking and how things have changed. So that's a program, an actual program at the Congregational Church, 7 o'clock, on our normal Historical Society program. There'll be more information about that coming out. All right, I think that's all. Anybody have questions? We hope to see you. We'd like to see a lot of people. They'd like to see a lot of people at bingo, because that helps with the bills. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jen. And Joanne.
Well, I went with Ricky and met with Jason, right? Jason. What a nice guy. He's great. Great too, very accommodating. They measured the lower level. They measured the road all the way around the back. And he came up with a price of $24,700. So if you add that to the $23,360, we can get the entire place paved for $48,060. The remainder of the designated account, $94,40. The lower level needs about 2.5, 3 inches of crushed gravel over the whole thing. It needs to be rough graded. Once that's done, they'll come in and they'll
Compact it?
compact it. Thank you.
Yeah.
They'll compact it. So we will have more than enough in the budget to do the entire project. And, that's a great company to do business with, as far as I'm concerned. Ricky, do you have anything to add to that? All set. We also, after that, we went with Ricky and Charles and looked at the cap. They worked very hard in the heat, and there's huge piles of pine trees that they took off, anywhere from 4 feet to about 12 feet, and they cut them whole, dragged them down to the brush pile where they'll be chipped with the rest of them when they get here. And they cleaned it up good, and we're all set for the inspection next week with the state. Okay?
All right.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hearing of citizens? Cheryl?
Just questions more than facts, I guess. Put this thing away. Okay. Looking at the town plowing didn't help, but I did look at the sidewalks, and there's just a couple of places where I just had questions for you to clarify for me, please. Okay? Okay. The contractor shall commence the application of sand and salt in advance of an impending snow accumulation or advance of freezing rain. Continue out through the storm. Clear salt shall be used to stay ahead of the icy when sand is inadequate. So to verify it, you want pre-treatment on every storm. Is that what that's asking for?
And correct me if I'm wrong, if we're expecting it to be freezing rain, where it's going to rain, get icy right away, we're looking to avoid the slick.
Okay, so the impending snow accumulation is actually, you can ignore that. It's just the freezing rain.
I mean, if we're,
I believe it was just freezing.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's on a case-by-case basis. It's, if it's going to be thick, heavy, wet snow, that's going to be turned into slush and
Okay.
40 degrees out. I think it needs to be pre-treated because then it freezes at night. But if it's the light, fluffy snow that can be blown by the wind, it won't need to be pre-treated.
Okay. And then B, the contractor shall scrape and treat sidewalks at the beginning of each storm when snow is evident on the sidewalks. The contractor shall plow and treat accumulated snow reaches 2 inches on the sidewalk and when the storm is over. That's plowing off the pre-treatment, right?
that's talking about if there is buildup, snow buildup, things like that, because when people walk on it, they put snow on,
right.
they pack it
Okay.
down. It's a measure to get that off of there.
So it's up to the contractor's opinion on rather to pre-treat because of the storm conditions and the plowing. It has to be plowed by 2 inches, as it always has,
And
whether it's been pre-treated or not.
And if you're scraping it to get, things snow that's been packed down, everything else, you should be scraping it before you're pre-treating before a storm. So it's not necessarily getting rid of any pre-treatment, it's prepping it for pre-treatment.
Okay, all right. Just
Am I-
asking. Okay.
Yeah, and also if you pre-treat and 6 hours later, the storm is changed in its dynamics, that's just, it happens, it's nature.
Okay. No, but what I'm trying to get at is, it used to be per storm. You get paid per storm, and
No,
this is.
this is per
That's
season.
what I say. You used to get paid per storm in
Right.
this contract, so it has to be, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to babysit the sidewalk during the whole storm if it's 24 hours. So this is just consideration on, the bidding process and what it is, because if I got to sit there and, watch it constantly, then, throughout instead of a storm getting paid just one chunk
Right.
per storm, this is going to be a yearly.
Right, and it's, once it hits that 2-inch level, it needs to go out there and get cleaned off and,
Yeah, so we're going to, can take that in consideration on a yearly basis, if we're going to have so many. So it's just going into the calculations of the bids will be higher, more than likely. Okay. So it doesn't matter on the shorter cycles, whether it's 2 hours or 2 inches, it's one or the other. Judgment of the plower, the contractor.
we don't have it in front of us, so what is it?
Oh. The hours between 5 and 8 to ensure that the sidewalks are clear. So, okay, so it's either 2 inches or sit on it okay. The contractor shall reduce high banks with wings. The trucks aren't listed, the equipment isn't listed with wings.
This is what I brought up. I brought that up at the workshop. The wing part didn't make sense to me.
Just
And
like the
then-
greater blades didn't make sense on the,
And I think we got
Contract.
sidetracked somewhere in there because that should have come out. The wings should have come out.
Yes.
But we got sidetracked on snow removal versus taking it down and where to put
We'll spend
snow.
a lot of time on a portion of the sidewalk, so,
Height of the banking.
yeah.
So, I mean, the wings, obviously, they're not going to have wings
I
for
do believe there is
sidewalks.
another portion in the contract that states that the banks are not to exceed a certain height. And at that point, I mean, however they get rid of the height of the banks is
Is however they're going to get rid
fine
of
by me. I mean,
Okay, so that one's kind of just obsolete, okay. Contractor exercises care to avoid damaging private drives. Washington Street, they're all private drives. And I know there's been complaints about, the salt and, that, but, so plowing them, the banks will go on theirs somewhat on the private drives. So how's that taken?
They just need to take care they need to not be careless.
Like throw the salt onto the grass like it has been?
And,
Okay.
don't go plowing, a foot into their yard and,
Yeah, well, it's supposed to stay on the sidewalks.
Yes.
Okay. Contractor shall be responsible for keeping all town sidewalks pushed back and shelved. I know what shelving is on a road when the truck goes by and they shelve the road. How do you shelve a sidewalk with the equipment that is listed? I don't know why that word was put in there.
yeah, have we ever received complaints about the salt being thrown onto people's lawns?
no.
Yeah, Brad.
Oh.
Brad Libby complains about it every year.
Brad Libby came up 2 weeks ago and said that the current person who's doing it has done a phenomenal job.
Excellent job.
So,
Okay, I'll look it up on the
it's up there.
TV. Yeah, okay. Anyway, okay,
So
60
shelving,
inches. Shelving, yeah. What are you going to do? Is that just another one that just kind of ignore? I mean, how do you shelve?
It's got to be taken down.
It falls under the criteria of the bank being a certain height.
Okay. All right. Completed plowing widths, when the storm is all over and they got to go in, it's got to be 60 inches or 5 feet, correct? Okay. Widening, widening shall be done after the storm is abated during daylight possible. Every effort should be made to do it in one operation, thus avoiding repeating piling of windrows in driveways. Suggestions? I mean, if we have a 12-hour storm and you have to continuously plow it,
See, this is,
and the state does everybody's driveway too, so
Yeah.
just curious.
yes, they do. And I'm just going to say this is really hard because we don't have the contracts or any of that in front of us. So I think this is an issue that's better addressed with send the board an email so that we can address it and be able to look at what we're addressing.
Okay, and it's not due until when
The 25th. There's still time.
of August? Do it next week, because I've got several other things in
If you
here.
can email them, then we can address it at next week's meeting, absolutely. If you can email all the points
Okay.
and just send it to the
'Cause
BOS.
This is on its way of being like the snowplow contract was with the changing and stuff, and I have just a little bit of information on the legality, and I've been doing my homework. Changing one part of it was okay. General rule, this is right from the state. General rules of revision. Mutual consent, both parties must agree to any changes. That's a give me. You cannot change the menu scope or price after a public bidding. Doing so is unfair to the other bidders. And when you took those 3 scraper blades out of the contract, it was a substantial difference in the price of the bid, or would have been had it been printed out and bid out.
But it did not change, we did not change any prices.
No, but you changed what? You granted the bid and then changed the cost of what is going to cost the contractor.
But once it's out to bid and once we open the bids, we can't put it out for bid again.
Well,
We can't.
this was brought up before any bids were in. The bid could have been canceled, changed, and just put the
And
bids
it
out
wasn't.
again.
And it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
Send me that as well, or send the board.
I mean, you know,
that
it's
as
just,
well.
that started it, but the sidewalks is just screwed up. You know, I mean, it's gonna be just as much of a hassle and whatever. You just gotta get things straight. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll see you next week.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Termination of MRI contract. So Carrie reached out and they're looking for us to give them a deadline of when we are going to be no longer needing their services. And Courtney, I'm going to let you kind of go into this one because you've been dealing with MRI and Paycor.
So yeah, we got an email from MRI after I had submitted payroll asking when the changeover was going to happen. So then I went and I emailed our Paycor person that we've been talking to, and she said there was still reports that they needed and they could not give us a specific day. So, after letting Carrie know that at MRI, Carrie is diligently helping Paycor to get that information. So,
Do you know what the reports are?
I can pull them up.
I mean, it was social security numbers, date
Well,
of
I guess
birth.
just let me rephrase that. Is the report from the payroll, like from MRI?
No,
or-
it's Trio. They're Trio reports.
Okay.
Yeah, they're Trio reports. So Carrie was good and like emailed back and was like, this is where you can find it in Trio, because I believe we got in Paycor into Trio so that they can grab those reports. I mean, I can read you the reports.
No, I just, my question is it a town holdup or is it an MRI holdup?
It is not an MRI holdup.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
yeah. So, yeah. We're trying to do this. We're trying to get it done as fast as possible, and yeah.
But we do need to give 30 days, so I don't know. I mean, it's hard to.
Paycor is not able to give us a deadline because they still need all this information, and they don't have it. And I'm going to call our Paycor rep tomorrow and see if she's been able to get those reports. And if not, then that is what I will be working on,
Okay.
because it needs to get done.
Do we want to maybe talk to Judy about getting Courtney enough access in Trio to be able to pull those reports herself to get them over? I mean, I don't want to keep adding to Courtney's plate because this is not,
Courtney's job?
it's not. And she's just taking on so much. But at this point, what do we do? Because right now we're paying 2 contracts.
What's the reasoning why the reports not enough time in the day? Like what? I know any system I've ever worked on, a report is a
Oh,
couple
no,
buttons.
they've gotten them everything. That's,
Oh, okay. Well, and this new payroll company's not that good. We got them everything and they're still missing it.
right.
Off to a great start. I don't believe that.
So it has been a tug of war getting, and part of it too is, it is the argument of they don't do payroll, so don't ask them to do payroll. So, I mean,
I would make a motion to allow Courtney temporary access to Trio to pull the reports that are needed until the implementation of Paycor is completed.
Second.
All those in favor? Sorry, Courtney.
No, this needs to get done.
And I think it's going to be a lot less stress on you if you're not having to be the go-between trying to get it.
It's just gonna be easier if I can pull the reports and get the reports.
Trying to do a couple people's jobs.
Do you want one of us to call Judy tomorrow to see if we can get you in? Or do you want to? Okay.
Because it's probably gonna be better coming from one of the board members to ask for access. But as soon as I get that access,
Yeah, I'll email her.
let me know and I will see what I can do. And I will see if I can figure it out. But this needs to get done. We need to be able to give people a specific, because this dragging it out is not it. So that's all I'm gonna say.
But on a good note, Courtney has almost finished all of the training for payroll administrator for Paycor.
Yes, I have about 5 modules left, and then hopefully I can start scheduling department heads to come in and sit down with me and do the training. Fingers crossed.
Which will be good. All right. Division between Select Board office and Treasurer's office. Last week, it was brought up that there's free access between the two offices. It was brought up to me that there may be an alternative to that, alternative to building a wall, and that would be shifting offices around. Move the treasurer's office to where planning board office is right now. Move planning board into this office. Am I getting this right?
Yeah. So basically, but we need to make sure we're checking with the people whose work offices we are going to affect, like Joanne and Julie. We need to make sure before you guys make a decision on this that everybody is okay with it. If not, then we will look into building a wall. It's
One of the issues I see with that is Joanne's office, the door has to stay open.
Yeah.
And so anybody could still walk in there, like the,
That's true,
like,
and
if
with
I come in
cash
to ask Julie
handling,
a
everything
question,
else.
There's no way to
That's a good
cash.
point.
And there's no window.
Right.
It would be cheaper, it would be cheaper to put an 8 or 9 foot wall up there
Okay.
than it would be to put a window in there and.
Yep.
It was just a suggestion. Just
It
one
was a
of
good
those
one. It's
things.
just, no matter what, we would have to either put in like a half door with glass or something. So I think a couple 2x4s and some sheetrock, it won't take too much to build that division.
Yeah.
We should also check with the code office to make sure it's like.
Is Dan going to make us pull a permit for this?
No. Yeah, we can waive the permit fees. No, the fire code.
Yep.
Access egress.
Yep. Okay.
But I guess there's other, well, no, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if we have to be, if they can be, if that wall can be 8 feet, or if we have to go to the ceiling, or,
Oh,
I know
yeah.
a lot of offices, if it's 8 feet or 9 feet or whatever,
I mean, I
to the
think
top of
if
the wall.
it's a security issue,
it's gotta go all the way to the
it's going to
ceiling.
have to go all the way up, just so
Yep.
No one
Somebody-
can run and jump.
nobody can pull Courtney's chair over to the wall and climb
Can
over.
you see me climbing over that wall with a chair? That'd be funny.
You need the reports. Climb over there and get them.
But, so that may be something we need to start looking into, because there does need to be that separation, and
Yeah, so I can get measurements at least for the in-between, from like one wall to where the windows are, and go from there.
Hi, Judy. Were you watching the meeting?
Yes.
Can you get her some Trio access?
I gave it to some gentleman who's supposed to.
Oh, no, for Courtney to,
I know, but he's got all.
Paycor does,
He
yes.
go in to Trio, the whole payroll thing.
Yep.
He said he needed to go in. So who was that guy?
Oh, he's with Paycor. He's the sales rep.
So why can't they look it up? what they want views in there.
It's a matter of, we have, and what is happening is they have pulled a lot of the reports that they need to pull. But our implementation person that we are supposed to be going through,
There's somebody separate from the guy that's already going in?
Yep, that's somebody separate. We have it's supposed to have been in a step process, where Brian is in the beginning of it. It was supposed to get passed off to Kristen Hodgins, and then Kristen takes it from there. But Brian has still been working with them to get everything. But now it's been Courtney's been communicating with Kristen directly to say, what are we missing? When are we finishing up? What's our deadline? And they're going, well, we're still missing this information. And I don't know if it's a pay-core issue where it's one department's not talking to another.
So we're gonna keep adding people to all this program.
No, that's why we only want to add Courtney temporarily. And then, but yeah, we're going to need to figure out the pay-core thing because,
I'll call the office tomorrow.
thank you.
What reports do they need they can't seem to get?
I have a list of them on my phone, but I will get in contact with one of them tomorrow because this is becoming more of a headache than it needs to be. It really is.
If we,
And
you probably know how to access those reports, huh?
If I know exactly what reports you want, I'll make sure you get them from someone that knows where they're at, put it that way.
here, I
And
can,
if this one don't want to, and if
Okay.
you're listening at home, I will call Trio and find out how to do it.
Okay. So, do you have it before I do?
yes, I do.
Well, fine.
This is going back and forth too long, this is getting way out of crazy.
It is, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating, and it's just going to become more and more costly unnecessarily.
Okay, I will email you the reports that they need.
Okay.
And then-
Figure it out if I can, or you know someone who knows where they're at, and I will
Okay.
find out from that person.
Thank you,
And
Judy.
then I'll email them to you.
Okay.
And you can.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you,
Bye,
Judy.
Judy. Yeah.
All right. Discuss tax commitment.
Okay, hold on. Let me send that before I forget to. So I got a message while you guys were discussing stuff about the 25th for the special town meeting being an issue for tax commitment.
I just thought of that as I was reading through this email again.
Yeah. So we need to figure something out.
So the issue with it being on the 25th is we wouldn't have the numbers into the system in time before our next selectmen meeting, and we have to have commitments set prior to September 1st. And if our special town meeting's on the 25th, the next meeting is September 1st, so we have to have commitments set then. So
Do we want to set it for the 19th? No. Does planning board have meeting on the 19th?
No.
Do we want to do it on the 19th? Get it posted today? Tonight, tomorrow?
as long as it's posted tomorrow before 6 PM, we can do it on the 19th.
First one is September 2nd.
Okay.
And then we would still have the numbers, hopefully, in Trio by the 25th. To make commitment at that meeting,
Okay,
to set commitment at that meeting.
okay.
Courtney, you have to edit it again. We have to re-sign them. 7 copies.
Do we still want to do it at 6 o'clock that night?
Yep, and we have to check with SRC TV, make sure they can film.
Yep.
Yep.
So 6 o'clock, 19th, fire station. do we want to come up with a couple dates that week in case Wednesdays don't work for SRC TV?
I mean, really, I think
I mean, any day that week's fine for me.
yeah,
Well, obviously the 19th, 20th.
but we're going to have to re-sign whatever.
Yeah.
Again,
Well, what about doing it on that Monday, on the 17th?
We can't. 7-day deadline. So it has to be after
The
either
18th.
Wednesday,
It has to be
Thursday, or
19th
Friday.
or 20, yeah.
So, I mean, we can set it for the 19th and hope and pray SRCTV can get out there. And if they can't,
So maybe give him a call first thing tomorrow morning.
someone with an iPhone in the audience, live streaming.
That'll work if we have to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hire some family members.
Got
It
to
would
do,
be cheaper than $800.
got to do what we got to do, that's for sure. Well, this one we can't.
Cheryl, I agree with you.
No,
That's-
I mean, future, no, get it done, don't do it, whatever.
That would be nice.
Yes.
That would be really nice. All right, so was that the tax commitment portion of it on the agenda? Okay. Review of legal bill. So, one, we got a large substantial legal bill in, and it's just over 7,000 from the public hearing matter. But we also did receive another legal bill from Brady Flaherty this week. But we are in the process of, we have reached out to them because we believe it's a misbilling. We do not recognize the name, even though it's under our town
A name we
account.
recognize?
Huh?
Even though it's under a name we recognize?
Yes, yes, it's under a town account that we used to have, but it is nobody that I recognize in the town that I haven't seen the name ever. So I think it was just misbilled with their billing department. So we have told Julie not to pay it. That was only, it was $132.50, in case if anybody cares. So, road plowing turnarounds, I know Howard had gone out and was starting to meet with people. Jerry?
Yeah, was you able to put together some sort of a draft?
Waiver, or a waiver allowing people to turn around on private property.
Yes, I typed it up. It's on my computer. I will email it to you guys tomorrow.
Super. And so, I know a lot of those areas, most of them, and I'll take the waivers, make copies, and next week I will start pursuing those turnaround areas and physically knocking on the door, talking to the people. And I'll keep trying until I catch them home, and we'll hopefully get this straightened out before we need to turn around their private properties.
All right. Old EMA office cleanout.
So the old EMA office downstairs is still full of stuff that is not used that could probably go somewhere else. And somebody needs to go down there, whether it's me or Isaac, or somebody needs to go down there and go through stuff, because if we can get that cleaned out, we can use it as a rec department office and an EMA office. But as it stands right now, there's so much stuff in there that nobody can even get a desk in there.
it's Judy and Dee Dee's old desks, and there's quite a few of them. I mean, they're in good shape. I mean, maybe we could put them up for,
Facebook
out to
Marketplace?
bid, out to bid.
them out to bid, okay.
And there's three, when I went down there and looked at them, there's 3 copiers down there, and I checked with Dottie, and she said they're no good, so they can go to the transfer station.
Yeah. And the material things down there, like the desks, the copiers and that sort of thing, but there's also paper, there's maps, and so whose possession are those records? Who?
Are those maps that we need, are they documents that we need to hang on to,
Right,
retain?
I mean, who makes the decision?
Or are they for Newfield?
There's bunches and bunches of, and
If there's maps, it wouldn't be worth talking to, it would be worth talking to Stan. Because code enforcement maps, old zoning maps and stuff
Yeah.
might be worth keeping. I've never been in the vault. I don't know if there's any room in the vault. I don't know if we can put more stuff out there. Is that a no?
No, you're fine. I let the people in there when they were working on the fire suppression box. I mean, you could possibly get more stuff in there, maybe.
And then follow up on that is when, I know we have a record retention, like law and vault. When was the last time, like I know when I worked at the property management company, it was 7 years. And so once a year, we'd go in and take the 8-year-old documents and huck them. I don't know when the last time that was done at the vault, if we only need to keep 25 years and there's 45 years worth of documents, or if the vault is strictly for stuff that we need to keep indefinitely. I am not up to knowledge on what the vault is.
I think everything that they needed for paperwork, those old files, they're almost cardboard files. I think all of those records were put in the vault.
Okay.
The maps, I think that's a good idea to have Stan go through them.
yeah, so that was going to be my question.
With Stan and anything the planning board needs for subdivisions or anything,
That's where I was going with that, thank you.
make sure that.
Because there's a lot of things that appear to be triplicate of a certain map.
Those file cabinets down there do have records that probably should be kept,
Right,
but that doesn't mean that the room couldn't be used for something else.
right, but there's boxes and boxes and boxes of copies that were made on a large copy machine of maps, and again, a lot of them are duplicates. And like if they had been put up on a whiteboard for an EMA plan or planning board plan, whatever, and people have written notes on them and all sorts, we need to determine.
Well, it used to be a rec room. It used to be for the rec EMA, and their stuff is still there.
Yeah,
It's the stuff that everybody's dumped in.
Do you need her to go to the microphone?
We need to upgrade our mics.
As far as I know, the EMA stuff and the rec department stuff is still there. It's the stuff that people have just gone in there and dumped stuff in there because they didn't have any other place to put it. Now, you can bring those old metal desks. People aren't going to take those. We'll put them in the metal pile. Anything that's metal, we can take down there. All the old electronics, bring them down. I'll ship them out with the rest of them. There's no cost to the town. Just need somebody down there to say, this goes here, this goes there. But over the last 8 years, I would say, people have just dumped in there.
so could you and I and Stan on Tuesday kind of sticky notes, whatever, tag what you think can go, and then on Wednesday, I'll bring my dump trailer over, and I'll volunteer my son. He won't like it, but that's, and we'll start physically clearing that out and taking it to the transfer station on Wednesday when you're there.
Yeah. I'd be glad to. Huh?
Said I like keeping junk in the building.
I'd be glad to help.
Never know when you
And
need an old
I'll
toner
volunteer
cartridge.
Stan. Stan, you listening?
Yes, he is. Probably.
All right. Tax anticipation note, we already talked about. No appointments or resignations, no correspondence.
I did get about Boy Scout Island.
Oh,
They went down there, the goose poop is not an issue, but I guess the island has floated into the swimming area, and I guess it's pretty nasty, and I understand.
Yeah, there's a big mud island.
Mud island, yes.
Secaucus is notorious for mud islands.
And
And there's a pretty big one in the
I guess the
swim
Lake
area.
Association towed it out to somewhere else last year, and there's a dock down there that's floated away, does not belong to us, and that needs to be moved also, so.
all right. You want to volunteer?
Yeah, I'll go.
Jerry has a dump trailer on Wednesday.
The pontoons aren't in yet, though.
There's no buoys out either.
Right. Which, I mean, at this point, we're halfway through August. Do we want to push the issue of buoys?
Well, they probably should be out. I mean, we're still gonna have some swim time.
Yeah, we can look at it. I mean, it is a swim at your own risk area.
Yeah.
The fancy new sign down there says that.
Good job.
Only own risk is crooked because I did it. But it is August. I mean, I believe that the buoy should get out. I know that there's an issue in finding a way to get them out. In the past, I think they've been dropped from a boat. So I don't know. Hopefully we can get them out soon because
Okay.
I think we only need to drop them one corner from a boat. Rad. I think we only need to drop one corner from a boat and the rest gets tied to a tree and the rest gets tied to a shore.
Okay.
Well, what do we wanna do with the dock?
The dock needs to go. The dock's been there for about 2 years. It needs to go. It's not, I mean, yeah. Bring it to the dump. The issue is getting it out. I mean, it's now been in the water for 2 years, so it's gonna be pretty waterlogged.
Well, we gotta know somebody on the lake that's got a boat that can pull it around,
Yeah.
and the island.
Yeah, the boat or the dock needs to come out. The town should buy a boat. Town can get a boat for this very instance.
That'd be a great idea. All right, so we're going to have to figure that out.
I'll go down and look at it tomorrow.
I know, I'll say this. Last week, we agreed at the meeting to lock the gate. I went down there with a flashlight after the meeting, and there was not goose poop that I thought there was gonna be, like the complaint said.
Yeah.
And it was very hot last week, and I didn't wanna be the person blamed for locking the gate, so I'll take the blame for not locking the gate. I
But,
forgot
yeah.
to inform the rest of the select board till I saw a Facebook post about it, so.
Well, and we went down to
Yeah.
look at it, and it was like, okay, there's fireworks debris, but
There's a broken picnic table.
there really wasn't anything else.
Yeah,
So-
no, it's a nice little area.
Well, the picnic table, I mentioned to Audrey about getting a new one, and I know she's got the money in her budget, so when we get the dock out of there, then maybe the picnic table should go too.
Maybe we should use the wood from the dock to make a picnic table.
No, we'll push the picnic table into the water and carry it with the dock around.
Where's the island going?
The mud island?
Nobody's talking.
We'll just do what Secaucus does. We'll just bring it out into the middle and hope
Let
that
her
it
go.
does. Yeah, it's a floating island. Right now,
Back,
it will come back, but it'll be stopped by the buoys.
maybe.
So we can get it out there and put the buoys up real quick. Fight the island. Get an excavator out there on a barge. Get the Mud Island out. There's a bunch of different options.
Next year, we'll look into putting up an oil boom instead of buoys.
All right. Anything else? All right, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Technically, yes, but go ahead. Okay.
Just two things. I want to make a clarification. Cheryl mentioned that I had complained about salt and sand on my lawn. I certainly have. This past year, though, I got to say, I don't think Nick was putting salt and sand on my lawn. I think the state put plenty of it up through there, coming down through and blowing it on, but I never witnessed Nick spraying any of it on my land. I did pay Audrey to go down there and clean up a lot of stuff, but it was stuff that the state put up there, not Nick. So there. And I'm also kind of curious, there's a petition going around to get a hiring committee. I understand it was put before the board and it was turned down. It was not?
We never got a chance to look at it or bring it to attorneys or anything else. It went out for petition, it went out for signatures the very next morning.
Oh, okay.
Before we could even look at it, so.
Cool. All right.
All right. Yes, Gail?
We can get signatures while you decide. We're allowed to ask the town clerk
Yep.
what we still expected you to rule on that. We can do it in parallel.
Okay. All right, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor? Have a good evening.